Hello and welcome to episode 87 of the Garage Athlete Show. We're joined today by the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Dan. Dan, for those of you who are involved within the group, is the videographer who works with Jay to be producing a lot of like the gym tour videos. So all those amazing shorts that you see on Instagram, the longer form stuff that's on YouTube. Dan is the man behind that. Dan's been involved in the group for 4 or 5 years now, has had a home gym for that amount of time. Those of you that are watching on YouTube, you might see he's got a little studio set up in there as well. So we just thought we would have a bit of a catch up with Dan, get the highs and the lows of kind of home gym ownership and just kind of see where the conversation goes. So Dan, if you want to introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself, kind of why you decided to get a home gym, and then just go from there.
Hey, first of all, thank you. Hi, I'm Daniel. Thank you for having me, Donald. I definitely appreciate it.
Of course.
This is the first time that I'm a guest. Previously I was doing a fitness podcast as a host, so being a guest is definitely a new thing to me. And as you mentioned, in terms of the home gym, I started basically going into the fitness and dreaming about being more involved in terms of fitness and having my own gym since I was about 18 years old, because I started working out when I was 16, got in the gym, knew nothing, knew no one, and I was figuring out the way. And as I was getting more serious into it and figuring out that I actually love what I'm doing, because when you start, you'll suck at it, you'll be bad at it, and you'll not know what you're doing. That's just what it is. And by trying out different things, you realize if you like it or not and get deeper. And that's what happened. I knew that in my country, because I'm from Czech Republic, I moved into UK just about 13 years ago. Yeah, that's right. And I knew space restrictions and finances over there. Having a home gym is very luxurious, that's a top of the luxury. So I knew it doesn't have to be that way all the time. And a few years moving forward, I'm in the UK, and I was like, okay, having a kid, 9-year-old son now. Previously, when I started with the first gym, my son was only, I think, 2 years old. So being away from the family, not seeing them as much and wanting to spend time with them, make me answer these questions like, am I getting into the home gym space? What am I going to do? How am I going to do it? And how do I find having the money for it? So I sold my PlayStation 4, my paintball gun, and I got my first kit from Marketplace, And from there, this is currently what you see, my 5th location already since 2019.
Amazing. So it's one of those spaces that's kind of like evolved over time. You didn't just splash out thousands of pounds and straight off the bat, sold some stuff, bought some secondhand kit on Facebook Marketplace, found you enjoyed it, and then slowly added kind of like pieces as and when. So is there any things that you bought like with the original home setup that you've now kind of like upgraded? Or is there any bits that you would really, really like to have in your gym moving forward?
To be honest, I find it that buying expensive stuff is easier than trying to figure out to find the cheap stuff, Going and get all out the best and maybe go on pay plan or whatever with zero interest. I tried as well. That's how I got, if you see the pictures, that's how I got my lovely treadmill for £2,000, which I never would buy normally out of a cash, definitely not. But I think it's very easy to, go and spend a lot of money into something that you don't even know if you're going to like. So answering those questions, if you like fitness, if you're about serious about it, is one of the things that everyone has to answer first place. Because then oftentimes, some people like myself go in Marketplace and find things with very good money because people don't use it. They don't know what to do with it. They thought they're going to go for it and then, ends up just piling the clothes and getting the dust. And that's about it. So, previously, in 2023, actually be releasing video about it this Saturday at 5 o'clock. I used to be Twitch affiliate fitness streamer, for about 1.5 years. Rented my own building, tried to do it as a job, get my audience and so on. So that's the time when I was getting very serious. And I bought most of my stuff brand new, but try to go cheap, because if you can do anything with a cheap rack, you don't need rack for £2,000. It's gonna do pretty much the same thing. And be honest, most people never gonna lift 140 kg on bench or over 200 kg on squats, whatever. So having something like this for 300 pounds, brand new Mirafit M100 that I purchased in 2019, it'll do good to you for a very, very long time. And I can go 160, but never got heavier than that, and you don't need to go heavy for building muscles if that's what's your goal.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's one of those things, it's just like anything, isn't it? You can invest thousands into it, but you can also get very good results from a very budget setup. It's just like you see influencers like where it's like they've got all the bells and whistles are at this bodybuilding gym and it's got 20 different variations of every single exercise. And then there's guys that build like world class physiques like working out of a pure gym. So
100%. Like yourself, right? If I'm not mistaken.
there we go. That's where I was heading. So it's one of those, like, ultimately, when it comes to training, like, it's the effort that you put in. Like, weight is weight. Like, whether you're deadlifting with second-hand iron plates and a cheap barbell from Facebook Marketplace, or you've spent £1,000 on a Rogue Ohio bar or whatever it is with, like, calibrated 25 steel thin plates, like,
Sounds
ultimately,
good,
they're going to weigh the same. Like, at the end of the day, if you want to be like a high level power lifter or like a strongman or something like that, you're probably going to need to invest a little bit more because the level of sport that you're trying to achieve is going to be higher. But if your goals are just like health and longevity, like you don't need to spend thousands of pounds on it.
Definitely. And you and myself couldn't be more right about it because I know you have a home gym, right, as well. Although you train in Pure Gym, but you also have a home gym, so you know what kind of value it can bring to you and also your family because it's really something to explain your child where you're going for 2 hours and why they can't go with you. My son is 9 years old now and he understands. He's been with me since, like I said, many home gyms now, fifth location. And it's been great having him around, you know, definitely building that connection, understanding what this is about and having for, I believe, most of men, if you like working out at least somehow, that father and son moments, you know, and building together. And if your partner is into the fitness as well, that just brings the whole circle and makes it unique. Like we work together, we help each other. Sometimes you get lazy. Sometimes my partner gets lazy. Like, I guess, you know, how it is. And it's great having someone that definitely can support you on that journey. And you don't need really expensive stuff. To be honest, most of my stuff that I got was very cheap, you know, BLK box. I think it was on sale for £100 and I'm having it for 5 years now. I could deadlift with that thing, 180 on deadlift, no problem. And it can definitely build muscles because I feel it's kind of marketing strategy in certain way. Oh, when I'm going to get better bar, when I'm going to get the bigger rack, the better rack, now I'm going to build more muscles and I'm going to look better. Well, you spend in the gym maybe 6 hours in the week, you know? Is it really going to make such a huge difference? Or how about your meal? How about your food overall, your nutrition, your sleep? That's more important. For me, the sleep is number one over anything else. Then the nutrition and then the training. And that's how it's been.
I think it's one of those things, just kind of circling back to a point you just made a second ago, of one thing that I'm getting from these interviews, especially with like dads, is that your kids see what you're doing way more than they will listen to the words that come out of your mouth. So if they see that you're making time to go and train, yeah, if it's in my garage gym that's at the end of the garden or in the house or whatever it is, and it's a positive, it's like gravity. You're attracting them to that and you're showing them that exercise doesn't have to be something that is a punishment or that they have to be scared of. It's just a normal part of a healthy lifestyle, especially when they've got both parents that do it. You end up finding that kids that have like active parents are like way more likely to be active themselves. And then it's the same in reverse. Like if you as a parent are living an unhealthy lifestyle, your kid is way more likely to pick up on that because they're learning those behaviors at home and then they take them into adulthood. So I think, like you said, like having that space that is there and it's dedicated to exercise and it's showing that training can be fun and it's a celebration of what your body is capable of, not just a overate yesterday, so now I've got to go and hit the treadmill for 3 hours or whatever it is.
Because I have to, because I should, because why? Why
Yeah.
would I do that? It's definitely one of those questions. And like you said, you know, having their children and as they age in, I don't know how about you, but I started working out because I got bullied. I started realizing that I'm getting fatter, which didn't bother me at all. But once people start pointing at it, you start realizing that how you look outside, it actually matters. When you're a child, it doesn't matter if you're poor, rich, whatever, children just play. But as you get to that teenage time, when you start seeing the financial differences, appearances, clothes, and your body shape as well, kids tend to pick it up very quickly and, you know, pointed at it being mean at each other and so on. My son is 9 years old now and he's a bit chubbier, gained some weight for past year. Before he was maybe too skinny, I would say. And now it bothers him because he sees the difference. He's like, I got a bit of belly. I'm like, okay, I get it. I've been there. That's why I got into fitness, because people start pointing out, oh, Daniel, you gained weight. I'm like, yeah, and so what? But then when it comes to more often, you know, it gets to you, destroys your confidence and self-esteem and everything, and you feel like it actually really matters your outside, not as much as your inside. So that's why I eventually lost weight, you know, and started working out, and I realized what kind of massive impact positively it can have on your life, but also kind of paradox-wise, because people more care sometimes about what you look like than who you're inside. So I think that's the
Yeah.
part about it.
Right, I've just got to flip around. My laptop's shouting at me because it's not plugged in. Right, let's see what the lighting goes like over here. Apologies to the guys on YouTube. The lighting this way round isn't great. But yeah, I completely get that. Like for me, I started training because I was the opposite. I was the skinny kid that just couldn't, really fast metabolism, like couldn't put muscle on. And I started lifting to get girls because I thought girls wanted big biceps and abs. And it turns out you get way more attention from guys than girls when you start lifting weight. Like they don't care. They really don't care. You just need to be funny. So any of the younger listeners out there, if you're trying to get girls, like work on being funny. Like, that is the best thing that you can do. They don't care about muscles. Dudes, the amount of dudes that end up in my DMs when I'm cutting for a show compared to... There's no women. There's no women at all. There is a lot of dudes.
Wow.
So, you mentioned before about the podcast and then the streaming. So, how long were you doing that for? And then, did you say you kind of... Was it like a private training space? And then... Did you take any lessons from kind of setting up that private training space to then moving into a home gym that was then just for you?
Definitely. You see, like I said, when I was dreaming about it, about having a home gym one day, many times when I walk around town, I see massive garage. I was like, this would be an amazing gym. And I started visualizing what would be like, you know, what would I do there and how I would spend my time, listen to my music, work out shirtless, whatever. And once, I think it was in Zoopla, I finally found a building for only 250 pounds. And I was like, wow, this is perfect. It has a small garden. It's 10 meters long. It has also extension, about 7 meters wide, bare bone break kinda. And I was like, this is perfect. I didn't want to pay so much money, but with a friend of mine that was also very passionate, 10 years younger, but very passionate about gym. We were like, hey man, how about we do this thing, you know? And a friend of mine was doing Twitch as well. And I was like, oh, he's doing a Twitch. Why don't we try fitness Twitch stream on Twitch? But it exactly didn't work out because not many men get attention from other men unless you're super jacked, you know, or that kind of stuff. Women, they succeed there quite a lot. I did my research and couldn't compete with that for sure. So in 2022, November, we decided to go for it and rented the building. Bailed in, nothing in there, no heating, electricity was installed later on, no internet. So moving in November, it was super hard. Waking up straight up into getting into 0 degrees. I can tell you it was cold as hell. And working out is one thing, but working out in such a cold environment that you pay for so much money, like for super elite gym, why would you do it, you know? Why would you do it? Some spiders and spider webs around, a lot of dust from the concrete that didn't even properly settle in, you know? We didn't have almost any equipment, just my basic equipment. So I started with that, started with 0. You don't know what you're doing, you're nervous, almost no one's watching, which is great because you don't get embarrassed much, which I did many times, you know. You get tired after work, you forget your words, things happen and you miss out things or whatever. And that was one of the great things that I really learned for doing it 1 year, really. I was doing it for 13 months exactly. And that was one of the great things, that no matter the environment, no matter who was there with me, because most of the time nobody was there with me, I still could do it. I still went for it. It was really hard for some people to go to a normal commercial gym with amazing light, 40 machines, you know, so many variations, so many options, and listen music, be nice and warm. No matter what season it is of the year, you always be warm, be there in a tank top. But in that building, it was really testing me mentally and physically. And because a friend of mine eventually didn't join as we meant to, I had to pay things on my own, which I couldn't keep up forever, you know. And because took me about 11 months to get to affiliate partnership. And then you can start having subscribers. And I met a lot of great people, you know. I had about 70 followers in total. Met people from Texas. Most, again, men only. Gym buddies, you could say, hey, how's it going, man? From Texas, Romania, whatever. Around the world, you kind of start building community. And even though you don't know their faces, they start following your Instagram. And that's super powerful, really. And that was amazing. But then you can't keep on paying. I knew I will not gonna make it. I started giving up. I was doing sometimes a podcast over there with my guests as well. And eventually I knew I just can't keep going. So I started getting depressed, started missing out the streams as well. And then 2024 May, I had to clear everything, sell most of my equipment, try to make some money back, at least by that, lost about £5,000 on the rent, because you just invest in every month 300 quid and you're hoping you're going to get something eventually, And that was the thing. It was definitely difficult and it taught me a lot, but definitely the mental and physical part of it, because no one's there. No one's watching you. Nobody cares. No one will find out if you're about to go to the gym that day because you're there on your own. And that's what it is. And the winters really, really tested me. And if you can survive something like this or get through it, by choice and paying for so much money on top, when you get to comfortable zone eventually, to your normal gym, commercial gym, you got to think about, if I could do something like this for so long in such a harsh environment, then why would I not do it in such a comfortable environment? And that's what eventually put me down a lot, because going back to commercial gym, see normal people, being around normal people, it was just different, than just being myself, comparing only to myself, and it was different. So eventually I stopped working out. I gained about 20 kg in a few months, because especially after diet was very easy. And I got super fat, and then people started, oh man, what happened to you? You're not fit anymore, blah, blah, blah. Oh, Daniel, why do you get fat? What happened? We see the difference. It was like when I had abs or was in a shape, you didn't care that much as you do when I'm not in a shape, It's just people like to point out more things when you losing or when you gaining weight in this case. Yeah, it wasn't really cool. And then eventually I was like, okay, time to go back, prove everyone wrong, prove that I can. And instead of, oh, we'll see about that. As you get older, it gets harder, and your testosterone and your sleep is like, bro, you don't even have a kid. I have a kid. My partner works on opposite shift. I see my partner for few hours every day at the night. That's it. Because when I go to work, it's her day one off. So we're exactly covering each other, and that's one of the difficult things. Sometimes we have to book holidays to be together, and if I can do it and be the shape eventually, then everyone else kind of can, to be honest. You really can.
Oh, 100%. Like, as you've just said there, like, you've gone through a very, very tough... So it's like the idea behind, like, 75 hard, isn't it? Like, you purposefully put yourself into an uncomfortable situation it's exposure therapy. So if you can succeed when all those things are working against you, if mentally you have that toughness to be able to just get up and get it done when everything isn't perfect, when everything isn't aligned, then like you said, when you then go into a better environment, it's going to be like, well, yeah, I'm not motivated to train, but at least it's heated in there. Like, yeah, I'm not motivated to train, but, like, I've got some decent equipment now. So, like you said, people always have an opinion. Whether you're too big, too little, too skinny, too fat, too muscly, not muscly enough, like, you're always going to get those opinions from other people. And 9 times out of 10, they ain't in the best shape themselves. Like, I get it. Like, if I had it a few weeks ago, I was at a takeaway. I was picking up a takeaway for me and my wife. Like, it was a chicken shish kebab. It wasn't even anything particularly bad. And I bumped into a member of the gym who was also in the same takeaway. Like, so they were getting their food, and I think they had like 2 burgers and a pizza or whatever. Is it all? Shouldn't be eating that. And I was like, mate, I'm a world champion natural bodybuilder. I think I can eat what I want. And just walked off. I was just like,
wow. It's like, you're talking to me or yourself in the mirror? Because that's what you should be doing, probably.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things where, like, people have such an opinion of things that, like, 9 times out of 10, they have no place to be giving that opinion to somebody else. Like, you also don't know what kind of day that person's had. Like, that could be the straw that breaks the camel's back in terms of them giving up. Yeah. So, right, let me see if I can remember how to share my screen. So, Dan has... Let's go... Window... Dan has shared some photos of his gym. So, can you see this? Yeah, no worries. So, that's your very nice treadmill by the looks of it.
Thank you.
What kind of treadmill is that? Is it Live Fitness?
It's Nordic Track X11i.
Nordic Track, nice.
Yeah, it was commercial grade, but this one is special because it's inclined, so you can go all the way to 40. Not just 15,
nice.
but 40. And that's one of the things, to be honest, that to me, over anything that I have, this is the most valuable equipment I have.
Okay.
Most expensive, correct, but also
Yeah.
that I have, but also the most valuable because most of the time when you want to get fit, the treadmill, the cardio is definitely important. There were so many years at the start when I was starting my journey that I only was doing cardio during summertime when I was dieting, right? When I was shredding. But I realized the cardio is definitely whole year round, 365 days. It's improving your physique so much, your lifts, your stamina that you have throughout the working out as well, your breathing, everything. I got way more efficient in lifting and having intensity during my trainings after I introduced cardio every week, at least twice, 3 times a week. So
Yeah.
for me, this is
Very,
definitely
very
the best.
very beneficial in terms of health. So, yeah, it's one of those things I would always advise either a baseline of steps. So, if somebody's getting between 10 and 12,000 steps a day, they're probably covering a lot of their bases, especially if they're out like walking the dog or something like that. But if you're sat at a desk all day, like you may need to make sure you're getting your heart rate up to that, like those kind of like higher zones every now and again, so that the blood vessels are opening and closing, and it's just general health wise. It's always a good idea to kind of stay active. Oh, got some of your accessories here, I'm guessing. Nice little
Yes,
pegboard.
definitely.
Keep it very organised. That's way better
Thank you.
organised than
Trying.
my home gym. A
I
cheeky.
got, I think I got from Ash from Home Gym UK community, Ashley, I think Rogers, he was the one that was sharing this pack. I was like, oh man, this is amazing. Where did you get it? I had to get it, off of
Yeah.
Amazon, but definitely one of the best investments with my top, I would say, accessories that I got that I've been trying throughout many years. So these are my very favorite, yeah. Plus the
100%.
loadable dumbbells that you can see over there in the corner, that's
But yeah.
Kensu adaptables, and they're super cheap. And I think for 100 quid, I got the ones that are made out of aluminium, and they're fantastic. You can load it up to 70 kg. Again, these are my dumbbells that I use pretty much all the time. I don't need super fancy dumbbells. I tried it. I've been there. It takes so much space, expensive as hell. So now I'm good.
So yeah, so adjustable dumbbells saves a lot of space, like you said, and to be honest, it's one of those things where I think the mechanisms for changing dumbbells have got a lot better. Like when I first started lifting, it was like these spin lock things, and then as the weight got heavier, like you couldn't put the dumbbell like on your knee to
Oh,
help
yeah,
kind of flick it up because they had giant
that's the word.
metal pole like sticking out of it.
That's old school. You're like, you got old, just like me. It's like, man, how old are you
Yeah,
again?
yeah. So yeah, I've got a set of fixed dumbbells just because I have enough space in my garage and I'm a personal trainer, so they were
That makes
tax
sense.
deductible. So yeah, I could spend how much did I end up spending? Probably about 3 grand on that entire dumbbell rack, but it's like yeah, it comes off my tax bill. Like to my missus, it's a justified expense. So yeah, it's tax deductible, it's fine.
I mean, it will
But
last
yeah, that
a
was a
long, long, long time. So
yeah, exactly. Like it wasn't all bought in one go. It was, I think my two and a halfs up to 20s was like the first batch, and then 20 to 40 was another batch, and then the guys over at Recharge actually sorted me out with some 45s and some 50s, and then I've not gotten
nice.
any higher. Yeah, those 50s are gathering dust right now though, because I've basically that's when I was up at my heaviest. When I was up at 85 kilos, I could do like the 50s for like a set of like 6 or 7, and
Nice.
then I come back down to like my normal weight of I'd like to hover somewhere between 70 and 75, and I've not been able to do the 50s again. But
Wow.
it's one of
That's
those
great.
how I've changed a few times over the years. So next up we got cable stack. So again, is that high and low, and those are adjustable?
Yes, all of that is adjustable basically, and plus you have the arms with it as well, so you can change the angle, open it for cable flies or whatever you like to do. I usually like to combine this is extreme fitness with Solactorizer up to 100 kg, but the 1-to-1 ratio, or if you're using the arms, is 2-to-1 ratio, so 50% of the weight. And it's absolutely fantastic to be honest. I got it for everything. I don't need anything else. When I used to have the gym before, I have had a cable stack, a cable machine like this, but that was way later. And I can tell you this stack is absolutely fantastic. You can do everything with it in terms of, I like to combine shoulders and then straight up triceps, just change the weight. That's it. So on the left arm, I usually have set up for my shoulders, ladder raises. And then on the right arm, I have a cable attachment or just bar and do triceps push downs, and it saves so much time.
Oh, 100%. And this is a really good example of what you can do with a very small amount of space by being very selective about the kit that you've got. So Dan's literally got, I think, a rack over here, then his cable system over here, and then there was dumbbells kind of like on the pegboard. And you've got the building blocks to be able to build, to probably do 90% of like the exercises you'd probably be able to do in a commercial gym with those like three pieces of kit. Because I think for home training, I think people struggle a lot with the pulling movements, but something like this that takes up a very small, it's quite a very small footprint. And it gives you so much versatility.
You can do really for everything. For me, it's primarily small body parts, you know.
Yeah. So here we've got his rack. You said this is a mirror fit.
Yeah. I bought it 300 quid back in 2019, you know, brand new.
Yep.
And
I think that was the first rack that I got as well.
But it holds us so well, you know. I really feel like, okay, I'll have all these expensive ones, stainless steel for, I don't know, 1,600 pounds. Like, it looks great, yeah? But is it going to make such a huge difference in terms of functionality comparing to this? No, really. I can put on maybe, I don't know, some Rep Fitness PR5000, you know, so many great attachments and spend way much more money on that. Way much more and more and more. Is my physique going to improve when I could build great body in my shitty building with 0 degrees, you know, using just this shitty rack? No, probably not. And that's where it comes down to. You know, priority? No, really. So
I think the only thing that I found with it was because I didn't screw it into the floor, and I didn't have like the weight. You can buy the weight pegs that help hold it down. It moved quite a lot because it's quite light. So if you've got like, as you said, 140, 150 kilos on and you're trying to rack that up, the one time I did that and the whole rack tipped. So I was like, okay, I'm going to buy, I think I went for the M300 after this one. And then I've just got a Strength Supply, like multi-gym, like and rack because I don't do... Oh yeah. Well,
by the way.
Yeah, that's okay. But like for me now, like the majority of the training that I'll be doing at home will essentially be my leg stuff. So I've got a hack squat, leg press in there, got the leg extension, leg curls, but I don't really back squat anymore just because no matter what I do with my feet, I cannot feel that in my quads. I always feel it in my hamstrings and my glutes. So like for me, the hack squat and then a Smith machine squat, because I can change the angle of where my knee is and feel that in my quads kind of like a lot more. And then I'll be having to play around with some different setups as well, just because I've got the stuff now, I can mess around with it.
Yeah, you get it fancy now, so why not? Why would you not use it?
Yeah, exactly. Although getting the weight stacks sorted out on that thing is proving to be an absolute nightmare. I have messaged them and been like, I've bought one secondhand. Please send me the instructions. I've got the majority of it set up. I just need to get the cables to go into the stacks, and I can't get that from the pictures. Like,
you can imagine, man. That sounds like a nightmare.
So we've got your recording kind of set up over here. Are you a bit of a gamer as well, or is it just the podcasting stuff?
To be honest, I used to be, but I found it. I always been since I was probably about 9 years old. But I find like a lot of waste of time recently. And as I get older, I don't know if it's with the age or whatever, but there is so many things out there that need to be done and are way more fun and feel better in terms of accomplishment than grinding my game in MMORPG or whatever, you know. Why would I get achievements in the game when I can get it in the life, which sounds better? Like I used to use it as an escape from reality, you know, because I used to do gym, studying in school, partying, and going to a gym and playing games. Sounds cool when you're 20, you know, 19. But as you get older, if you're still doing the same things, it's like, really, bro? Really? So I'm sure just trying to stay away from it, because then I'll think about how much time I could do better things like being with my kid, doing this, you know, do my content and things I want to get myself out of the job that I don't like and I feel like it's pointless, which I feel a lot of people as they get older, they just get bored of their life. Things become repetitive, you know, you're now adult, you have to pay the bills, go to job, do the shopping, be with the kid, go to job again, do your workout, you know, and then you're like, oh, damn, where have been last 2 years? I don't remember. What happened next year? I don't know what happened last year, you know, things just go. So,
yeah, definitely.
I'm focusing at the moment on trying to find out my job, get to doing my real job than the job that I'm wasting my time in, and it's not fulfilling. So yeah,
Can understand that. So is this what is this picture? Is this like a before and after
before and
photo
after.
or?
You bet, yeah.
Okay, so
The one
this
at
is
the
the
top,
space that you're working with.
yeah, the one at the top that was previously, it was my son's room actually, his playroom, his bedroom, and then I clear out, and then I installed all the kit. Yeah, so this is what it was like. This is what I'm working with.
Yeah,
Treadmill is still in the same spot, but it's literally one room, and I have so many things here.
amazing, dude. So, right, how do I stop sharing now? Right, I think it should be back to just me and you, yeah.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah, I'm still getting used to this new software. Danny's the one that recommended this software for recording podcasts to me, and it has proved an absolute game changer compared to if any of you guys go back and watch any of the older YouTubes where we were recording on Zoom, like you'll notice the quality of this is a lot better. So yes, thank you for that. Something you mentioned a second ago was you're changing your career. So I think that might be interesting for us to kind of go into. So I'm guessing that's kind of like around the videography and stuff like that.
To be honest, partially just because, to be honest, it makes money, and I'm quite good at it, and it's kind of fulfilling. At least it's in the niche that I'm doing, which is fitness. When I do videography, I'm just trying to focus in terms of fitness, but I'm just trying to do that as making extra cash. That's pretty much it. I have primary job, full-time job. I work 4 days off, 4 days in, and it's a great way to make extra money, get people, know new people from industry, kind of build it up, and potentially do it as an extra side hustle while being a full-time YouTuber, because that's what I'm probably going to do most likely. Do full-time YouTube, do my stuff, plus video recording. And meeting with athletes as well, because that's what I'm starting with by the start of the May, having my first athlete, do the first video for them, and so on. So yeah, looking forward to that.
Yeah, so any of you guys that are in the fitness space and looking for a videographer, I can very much vouch for the quality of Dan's work. Very professional and absolutely knows his stuff. Me and him had probably were chatting back and forth for a couple of hours talking about like cameras and video stuff and like software. Yeah, any of you guys that are interested in anything like content wise, like make sure you give Dan a call or just drop him drop him a DM. Who even calls nowadays? We're in the 2020s. Yeah. Nobody does phone calls anymore. So yeah, drop him a DM. So Dan, is there anything kind of like you wanted to cover before we kind of like wrap it up?
To be honest, there's so many things that you can talk about fitness. There's so many things you can talk about, how to get fit, how to eat your protein, and so on. But I feel like what hasn't been told out there very much is what means fitness to people and why they should do it or should they not do it. Pretty much throughout the 16 years that I've been doing fitness and focusing on bodybuilding, being athletic, like Jeff Cavalier from Athlenex, focusing on hardcore bodybuilding and so on, thinking about actually competing, and being nearly there. I think people need to really think about what fitness can give to you and what you can learn from it. Because yourself, you've been working out for so long, you prepare your body, yourself, and mentally, physically for competition and getting super lean, abs and everything, And that must have been super hard. Like, I can get lean, but definitely not your level. That's a new lean, Like, that's a lot of misery behind it. A lot of restrictions, a lot of saying no, a lot of torture, discipline, and doing things even if you don't like them. And doing it for every day, every week, you're tired, you're not, it affects you, it affects your family, you get muddy, you get tired, and so on. But that's one of the things that I believe that people that stick to fitness for a long time, they can really use it as a kind of translation to their daily life. Because if you can really get yourself to discipline, get lean, get strong, be better, improve yourself from outside, it will improve you also from inside. And that you can use for your normal daily life. What I mean by that, you will learn discipline. So if you want to get better job, like with everything, you will need to improve. You need to have discipline, like with fitness. All the aspects that are in fitness, so many of them that I just mentioned, are translatable and usable on daily life and whatever you want to follow in your life, whatever you want to pursue. And I think that's something powerful that need to go a lot of people through it and learn it, because like with fitness, you start in the gym, you know nothing, you're insecure, you have no idea why you're there. You probably know why, because of how you look or how you feel, most likely. And get your discipline, learn about it, start by sucking at it, learning it from so many people. not knowing why would you do that, why would you do that, listen to this, listen to that. But then once you get into it, you find out you actually can be good at it and you're doing it for a reason. And then you're trying to be better at it. And I think that's one of the things that you can translate to business, to building your career, your relationship as well, because whether it goes well or bad, you got to stick to it, be disciplined, and just try to do the best you can, and expecting it'll be hard, whether it's your job that you're trying to pursue or the relationship that you are in. And I'm in one for 13 years. I can tell you it's not easy, but it's definitely worth it. I'm in fitness for 16 years, and there's always something you can learn about yourself physically or mentally. Same with relationship, job, and pursuing what you want to do.
100%, I couldn't agree more. So the way that I tend to describe it to people is training, the gym, kind of that lifestyle. It's the crucible for learning essential life skills. So for a lot of people, they never learned delayed gratification. Like, they never learned to put off what they want in the moment for what they want long term. And the gym is one of the few places where there is a direct correlation between the effort that you put in and the result that you get out. Like, I think you're a similar sort of age to me. Like, we were told, go to school, get good grades, you'll get a good job, you'll work hard, and you'll be rewarded for it. And as we've grown up, that social contract has broken down somewhere. Like, you can go to school, get good grades, get a decent job, and still be living paycheck to paycheck at the end of it. So many people our age are struggling to get on the housing ladder, just to be able to like give their families a better lifestyle than they had kind of like growing up. And that's ultimately what we want. We want to make sure that our kids grow up in a better world than we had as children. But one of the few places in life that, one, it can't be bought, and two, you can't cheat it. Like, you can add drugs and stuff into the system, which makes it easier, but, well, wow, that's bright.
Turn orange now.
Yeah. You can add things into the process. That's way too bright. Right. Going back again. That make it easier, but you still have to do the work. This is where I often get people that are like people that take steroids are like cheating and stuff like that. And it's like, to an extent, like, but they still need to train. Like, they still need to watch their diet. If they're getting up on stage, like, there's still a hell of a lot of work that goes into that. And it's one of those things where the gym's one of the few places that you are directly rewarded for that work. Like, if you put the work in and do and have a plan that has been either made by a coach, or if you go on ChatGPT or whatever it is that you decide to make your plan, and you implement it for enough time, it will work. Can almost guarantee it. Like, there's literally thousands of different ways on the internet to get a result. Like, the science of fat loss and the science of building muscle are very, very simple. Eat less, move more for fat loss. Lift heavy shit repeatedly and incrementally increase the shit that you're lifting. That's it. The problem is the implementation is not like humans aren't an input-output system. We're not just, you put this in, this comes out. There's a lot in between here and here that goes on between what you put in and what you put out. And that's the bit that you need to tweak to make it individual to you, because what's optimum isn't necessarily what's going to work for your life. And I think that's the bit people get caught up on. It's almost like shiny object syndrome. Like, it's, oh, I want to try this diet. Oh, there's this new thing. Oh, there's that nice new piece of kit of, right, I want to do this. I've just seen this on TikTok, or this influencer's telling me to do this. And they end up just trying to do everything all at once rather than just picking one thing, trying it out, stick to it, and then take a step back and evaluate what went well, what didn't, what did I learn, what could I do better, like, where did I struggle. Next time, how am I going to adjust things to make it so that areas that I struggled with last time are then easier to overcome this time? And it's a constant process of learning. 100%. I've been lifting weights. I'm 35 this year. I started lifting weights when I was 13. So I've been lifting weights 22 years at this point. And I still learn new shit all the time. So yeah, it's one of those processes that's never done. And to some people, that's demotivating. Whereas to others, like for myself, I find that motivating. That I'm never done. There's always a new thing, a new challenge, a different way to look at the same problem.
Definitely, man. I couldn't agree with you more. Like you said, there's always something you can learn, and you never stop learning. As I got deeper into fitness, in 4 years, I thought I know a lot. 7 years in, I thought I know a lot. 8 years in, 9, I was like, my God, I'm in 16 years. There's so much, how much you can go in the depth. But for me, what I learned the most is you can learn loads of things, but you can also lose your fitness very quickly. So because you're hard now and you going hard after, you discipline, it doesn't mean you will last a month, 2, 3, whatever. You can really lose it. Once you get there, you're like, oh, I'm going to get to this shape. Okay, are you going to be able to stay there? For how long? Is it for the rest of your life? Probably it's not. And if it'll be very hard and you can't predict what your life is going to be later on. Maybe you change the job, you get a partner, you have a kid, and there are so many obstacles that you have no idea about yet. You get older, I'm 33 in next month. Oh, how am I going to train when I'm 40? Am I going to get injury? What am I going to be like in 50? And there is always something that you can learn about yourself and your situation. So I think that's the great thing about it. That's exciting. It's not boring. You don't always get the same result. When I go to my job in the morning, I know what I'm going to do. I know how much I'm going to get, what time I'm going to come back, and the next day repeat. Wow, amazing. So exciting. But with the gym, and trying to pursue something that you really love, first, you definitely love what you're doing, right? You're trying to help other dad bots, right? That's why I really like what you do in terms of helping out people, other fathers. It's amazing because different situation, different tweaks, it's interesting, and everyone has to figure out kind of what works for them. Basics always work in general, but there are the small tweaks that make us unique to your situation, body, age, whatever, diet, whatever it may be. And I think that's a good thing about having a personal trainer and doing what you do, to be honest. It's fantastic. But also realizing what you want to do in the life in terms of your job, because they will fuel you for a long time. If I haven't enjoyed the fitness, I wouldn't be where I am now. I wouldn't be videographer trying to be better at it because I would not enjoy it. So I wouldn't do it. Same with you. You put in so much effort into your content, training people, helping them be their support, physical support. It sounds like 24/7. Other people that don't like it, they wouldn't be like, oh, that's what you're getting paid for. No, man. But you're like, hey, but this is what I'm doing, and you love it. And that's fantastic.
So, right, guys, if you want to reach out to Daniel, where can they find you? Is it best to kind of reach out on social media, or obviously they can find you in the group? But yeah, where's best if somebody wants to contact you?
To be honest, IG, Instagram, Danny.fitnessaddict. And on YouTube, definitely go if you like more. I'm putting out a video this Saturday on my YouTube channel, which is just Danny Fitness Addict. And that's it, pretty much like that. I like to keep it simple. I used to try to do TikTok and Facebook and this and that. I got to be everywhere because I'm comparing myself to other people that put in the content out there. And they have a teams and they don't relate to me, but I'm listening to them because they inspire me. So then I'm trying to do what they do, and I fail at it, and then I hate myself, then I'm not good enough, then I'm overwhelmed with myself, then I'm pissing off my partner and my kid, and I'm a shitty father, and then you go stressed, and then you're depressed. That can be the life. So don't compare yourself to the others, because maybe you're going to end up like that. Be realistic and try to apply your situation only to yourself, because no one lives really your life in your brain, in your head 24/7. No one knows your past as well as you know yourself. Even you doing content, I bet it's difficult. You have a client, you have a kid, partner, trying to stay fit, trying to stay amazing shape, competing on top of that and being tired and everything and dieting. I can't imagine that, man. Respect,
There's a lot. And I think it's
100%.
one of those, it was one of the things that I teach in my coaching program, is understanding that when you're juggling that many balls, some are made of rubber and some are made of glass. And it's understanding that there's seasons in life. So for me right now, I'm in the off season, which means my training, my cardio, things like that can take a little bit of a back seat. They're still important to me, but they're not a 9 out of 10. I won't move family shit to accommodate that. When I'm in prep, sometimes I have to move family shit to accommodate that, because that's me getting ready for competition. Whereas now, family, number one priority. If I've got anything on and it means I have to skip the gym, sometimes I've got to skip the gym on that day, or I've got to train later, or I've got to train when I'm not optimal to train. But it's about knowing which of those will bounce and which of those will break. Because as you said, you can't do it all. We don't have enough time in the day to kind of get everything in. So it's about prioritizing what is the most important and I make my way down that list. So the most important stuff gets planned in first, and as you go further down that list, if I run out of time, the tasks that are lower in terms of importance, they get pushed back to a later date. So right, guys, thank you for listening. I will make sure I get Danny's Instagram account and YouTube tagged in the comments below. If you could give us a like, a subscribe, leave a comment with your favourite tidbit of knowledge from this episode. I do read every single one of them and do try to reply to them as quickly as possible. So thank you for all your time today, guys, and we shall see you next week.
Thank you, guys.
Okay.